Hello, hello, and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, coming to you live from my little shop in South Yarra in Melbourne, Australia. It is so hot out there that my flip-flops would be melting into the concrete, I'm fairly sure. So I'm coming to you from my back office today instead of the front area, which I'm going to have to just get a new air conditioner for. Anyway, meanwhile, talking about hot, we've got our candle going that's sending out love, light and healing and a bit of passion to all of you out there. Although if you're feeling kind of as hot as we are in Australia, you probably don't sort of feel like the passion so much. But certainly if you're needing firing up in the US or anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, well, there's some radiant heat right there for you coming to you live. I've actually had some people writing in. I'm rather excited about that, and I'll be answering those people on air today as well, and taking calls also. So which one shall I start with? This is the question, because both of them are quite interesting and different in their energy. I might start actually with Jennifer, who is in Charlotte, North Carolina in the US, who thank you very much for writing in there, Jennifer, and Happy New Year to you as well. Jennifer's lost her job last year and is wondering when she's getting a new job, when things will get better, and, you know, what sort of future she can sort of look forward to. So I want to just thank you so much for writing in there, Jennifer. And also anyone who's watching or listening, you can actually write in as well to Soulstar Radio. Just go on to soulstar.media. If you have trouble with that, just write in Soulstar Radio and you'll find that on Google pretty quickly, and you'll find me there, and you can go on the contact page, send an email in. But Jennifer from Charlotte has written in, and she said about the job. Now, with your energy there, Jennifer, I do feel a lot of sensitivity in your energy with people. There's a lot of strength, clarity, the ability to help people define their roles in what they're doing. And I feel here as well, it's like you're really good at being able to be the peacemaker, negotiator, the deal maker or the deal breaker, as it might be, and doing it in a very compassionate, caring, but also diplomatic way. Really brilliant you are at being able to hear, where people are coming from and what their feeling is on a situation and be able to go straight to that. And for you, sometimes the difficulty, I guess, is knowing how to deal with endings, and knowing when you want to end something. And then sometimes other things ending on you not quite when you're wanting to. So we come back to that thing of losing the job last year. So what I really get there when I'm looking is I feel that 2017 is a year which will get you moving. There's a lot of clutter that's going to be cleared out of your life, particularly the first 3 months of this year. And to me, I would see that as quite literally really reevaluating some of the connections you've got around you and how much energy you're putting into them, and also particularly clutter around the home, whether that's actually a literal thing or emotional thing. There may be a letting go process going on there. Once that's out of the way, it's like you're able to see things a lot more clearly, tap into them and have a lot more energy. I do feel that there is a new job on the horizon, and I do feel that this is taking the skills you've used before, but using them in a slightly different angle. And I don't exactly know what kind of work you've done in the past, but it's like taking the skills and the knowledge, experience, training you've got and qualifications from the past and using them in the future, but in a bit of a different way than what you're used to. So this will suggest some kind of a job change or change to the type of work you're doing. I would really feel April is quite exciting there on the career front. So if the job is not there in the next couple of weeks, it may be April that's happening, or if the job is coming in the next couple of weeks, it's April when they're talking about your pay in a different way. That's quite exciting. But in any case, this role leads on to better things and being able to have more flexibility in it, in the work you're doing, but also in whether this is hours, whether this is where you're working, but also I feel, as I said, there seems to be some good news on the pay front with that. So I really feel that this year is a year where you get to be able to start moving ahead. I do feel the next couple of years it's like you're getting to finish off old business, and when we get out to 2022, it's like a whole new lease on life with you. And I would actually feel at that point quite a significant change in direction as far as where you're living geographically. So certainly in the years to come, you won't be looking back on this in a bad way. It's just going to be like one chapter finishing and, getting into that other phase of your life and feeling like, yep, okay, I've got that done and now I can set this in place. So to me, the future does get brighter for you, but it's just like we have to hang on for the moment. And at the moment, just take it literally one step at a time. And yes, keep our eyes on the end goal and on the bigger vision of things. But right now, it's also filling in those steps. So don't get caught on just looking at the future or just looking at the present moment and only seeing that. It's about having a look at both, balancing up the looking at both, and then taking another step forward. So we look at the steps we're taking a few more steps, stop, take a breather. Oh, look, there we are. We're a bit closer than what we were. And then back down to it. That's how I would kind of look at this process that you're going through. And I do feel that, that will get rewarded in the end is how I would sort of put that with you. I'm just going to also draw out a card and see what I'm drawn to here for you there, Jennifer, before I close that off. And just for what healing you're needing at the moment. There we go. So I've got here that real energy of needing to take time out for being able to sit and actually contemplate what it is you're wanting to manifest and put that front and centre in your mind. That will help you focus and get more of what you're wanting at this stage, rather than just keeping on muddling along. So as I was saying about the steps, taking little steps, stop, take a breather, look at the goal ahead, and then stop again, take another few steps. So that relates to the card that I've picked up here, which is talking about sacred space and about sitting with that and being able to go, okay, so I've gotten this far. The card before it talks about manifestation as well. So it's about, okay, well, this is how far I've come. This is where I am. Deep breath. Visualise where you're wanting to go, and then you start once again taking those steps to get there. So I hope that helps you today there, Jennifer, and I'll be sending you an email after the show to let you know I've answered you on air. And thank you once again for writing in. Now, we've got a caller. I might go to that caller. We have Diane in Mankato, Minnesota. Mankato.
Hello.
Hello, Diane. How are you going?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for calling in and being very patient with me while I was sort of dealing with another one there. Now, how I start reading and how I read with people is I actually start with the date of birth. That lets me switch in and tune in to you more readily, and I can also see what's going on, not only energetically but also numerologically, as astrologically, all those sorts of things. So could I start with your day of birth at all?
Sure. June 28th.
So is that June 28th? Sorry, is that June 28th? Yep. And the year, if that's okay?
1963.
Not a worry. So with your energy, your year of the water rabbit, you would certainly be glad that 2017 is over. It was quite a full-on year for you. There's a lot of frustration points there, and having to deal with overcoming your uncertainty and having to really work on trusting yourself a lot more and your perception of things, and stop, look, listen. So you may have found yourself listening to your intuition far more because of the events of last year, and having to stop and really take a reevaluation and go, okay, now I get it. Does that make sense to you?
Very much so.
Yeah, so it's been a year of those sorts of situations coming up have been sort of designed in a way. It's part of what's going on in life, but it's getting you to trust yourself more and work on that trust with spirit and be able to do that. And certainly this last year would have given you plenty of opportunities to be very, very frustrated and to blow your stack if you weren't careful, which is what you avoided doing. there's certainly an energy there where this last year in 2017, it was a 1 year for the world, and also your day of birth, 28, comes down to 10, comes down to 1. So how we do that, is, of course, is 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1, and 2017 was a 1 year for the world, and your life path number, of course, is 8, and, of course, 2017 was your 8 year. So what's been going on there is a massive inventory of, does all of this fit anymore, and do I want it? And having to kind of work out, do I really want to be around this situation, that people, that event, and also having to lock up the finances in a different way. And there's quite a bit of having to say no to people and having to kind of be able to feel safe in being direct when necessary, but also feeling safe to go, do you know what, it actually doesn't matter what I say right now because they're not going to listen anyway. And so I'm not going to waste my breath on that. So you've had to, in some cases, take that step back and really, reevaluate that. As I said before, is it worth my energy? So to me, this year is going to be about you being able to do a lot of letting go, a lot of moving forward, a lot of contemplation still. But that's going to be more your spiritual contemplation going on. But there's this sort of a driving force energy of, okay, let's just get rid of this, will we? So it's like, you're not going to take it anymore, per se. Was there a question you wanted me to look at for you?
There is. I've been having some medical issues, and I just wonder if I'm really looking in the wrong place. It's in my upper spine and my neck. Should I pursue that, or is it really not something that is going to be really bad?
I do feel there's a lot of tension in those spots. I do get a couple of dark spots in that place. What you can do as a visualisation, for one thing, so I'm just going to speak about a visualisation for a minute while I've got it in my mind. There's a visualisation you can do where you can breathe in. If you imagine a cone at the top of your head, and as you breathe in, the cone opens up, and as you breathe out, down comes this white light breath straight through you. And if you can take that white light breath into those areas of concern that you've got there, and then breathe any dark spots that you're seeing when you're visualising that straight out of your body. So flush them with light until the dark goes out of your body, out and away from your aura, and you're flushing it through with light. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yes, that will help you in part, but I would be, I would be making sure that we have ruled out physical, ramifications with that, because I see them in a way as balls of tension, but I also get the dark spot energy with them, which, the kidney chi can rob from the bone. So it's sort of what I'm seeing is confusing me because I don't have my Chinese doctor with me. But what I can say is I would be following it up with medical as well, just to rule things out and to get that under control. And just to be absolutely certain that there's nothing absolutely, to worry about there. But I just feel like a visualisation that's very helpful for the situation that you're in is the one I've described. Some people can find that really helps them, and it can help clear energy. And, of course, illness starts as an energy. It moves through the spiritual, emotional, and then finally into the physical. So if we sort of start clearing it from the spiritual and the emotional, then that may be able to have an effect on the physical, if that makes sense.
It does. One question: does the word "kiari" is that important or not?
I'm sorry. Can you say that word again?
Kiari. CHIARI. CHIARI. Kiari.
Yeah, I get a yes and a no with that. I think I'd have to understand what that is because I get a blank.
It's a malformation. It's a malformation in the upper spine where the actual part of the brain kind of goes through the whole of the skull.
Got it. I was also seeing stuff further down, down towards the actual neck down towards a joining between the shoulders, actually, as well.
Okay.
So we may be dealing with a malformation. We may also be dealing with how that malformation may be triggering off different nerves and things like that.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so that's definitely where I'd be looking. I would agree with that one. But I do also get the real tension spots in that neck and that whole area that I'd sort of work on flushing out as well.
Okay. Wonderful.
So I hope that helps you with that. And I do feel you'll get to the bottom of that this year. I do feel that there may be, there's going to be interventions here that can be done to assist you. And it's going to be important to follow up with the right people for that. But also, as I said, if we work on the spiritual side as well, it can help as well. It can help with, how we feel about things, but also it's amazing what positive thought can sometimes do. But positive thought can't always do everything. So it is about that balance of things.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're getting to the bottom of it this year, so I wish you the best with that. 2019 is also going to be a whole different energy again, and I do feel a lot of light there with you, and certainly not quite as much pain, that's for sure, and being able to feel a bit more mobile. So I think that's something to look forward to, and I wish you the best with it, Diane.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and my best wishes to you. I'll be sending healing out to you after the show. Now, we've also got another person who's phoned in. I think I'll go to them first. We've got Renee, and she is in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Have I said that right, Renee?
Yes, that's good, yes.
Yay, I got it good. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. It's lovely to hear your voice. And was there a question you wanted me to look at for you today, darling?
Well, I know my father's passed 20 years, so I'm just kind of wondering to see how he's doing, if he's okay, and just, if there's anything that you get anything from him.
I've got these men marching together, and they're really jovial and happy, and they're marching in formation, but they're really happy and jolly and smiling, and it's like, it's really good to see you. That's what I've got here. Was he actually involved in marching or the forces or anything like that?
Well, not that I'm aware of. Unless he did that when he was younger.
When he was younger.
I'm aware for that.
That's okay. So I think it's really going to be symbolic in that case, but I've got men marching in formation. There's a smiling. I can't get away from the symbol. Men marching in formation, smiling, and he's really happy to see you. And it's like everything's in order, everything's in line. And it's like they're actually in a drill formation, and they're actually doing that singing and whistling.
Well, he was in the army, so I don't know.
There you go. He was in the army, right? Oh, that would be happening. So I don't know whether they're normally wearing the very light khaki with that, with his particular group when they were doing that. But I've just got them in formation. I've got them marching, and he's just the pride and happiness on his face is what I've really got here with him. And it's interesting because I'm seeing him as this much younger man. Now, I'm not seeing him as, really old and exhausted and all these sorts of things. I'm just feeling that youthfulness. And so he's gone straight off into that light energy, and is having a great deal. It's interesting because I pulled out a card before, and I've got it sitting here, and it's actually the children card, and of course you're his child. So, and that's what I was doing when you first rang in as well. I didn't even take your date of birth. I'm like, oh, hello, this is just, we're going. Yeah. I went straight into these guys marching, so I didn't even bother with the date of birth because I'm like, oh, look, it's just going to do what it's going to do. So he's jumping at the bit, so to speak, to sort of let you know he's there, and He's also talking about being very upright, standing upright, and so he's showing me that in his posture. But it's like what he's really saying to you is just remember to hold yourself up straight, hold your chin high. Have pride about what you're doing, and that he is proud of you. But just to remember you can do this, and just remember that you have what you need. To get along in things that have been worrying you in the recent last few months, it's just about if we just keep an orderly profile to all of this and just keep everything kind of moving along and we just do the best we can and keep a routine about things, then, this will help you come through the challenges that you've been facing.
Yeah, it's good to hear because I know it's been almost 20 years, so it's good to hear that,
Oh, yeah. But I feel that you're very much like him in the sense of the keeping yourself going, keeping yourself upright, keeping the smile going, and having that positivity to just go, well, that's okay. Today's a new day. Let's start again. That's what helps you the most. Yeah, that's what helps you the most. That's what he's talking about to you as a quality both he has and at times wanted more of, because he says he's not always perfect on that, but also that you have and that you need to keep using that because that gets you through anything.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Any other question? Does that answer that part? Any other question with that?
Yeah, that helped with that. I just, because it's just funny with my one nephew, it just feels like my father, came back as my nephew. He's like everything, just like him and everything.
I think there's a lot of, I feel some of the cheekiness, the particular type of cheekiness is the same. It's a particular type of cheekiness that's exactly the same. And so often that can, be the case that trait comes through. And certainly this young person's challenging people and what they think about things. It's sort of like when people say, so why do we use butter anyway? Is it because of the taste or is it just something you do? These are sorts of questions I think your father would have asked, possibly not literally that one, but it's also the kinds of questions this young person asks as well. So it's not just the cheeky sort of humour, but it's also the questioning. And it's that questioning that gives you that real sense of autonomy and thinking for yourself and not just following along with what people say and do and what's expected of us, but what does this mean to me? Does this feel right? And so you're questioning it, not just going along with it. And so that's a very intelligent mind, that this one has. So I would be encouraging that, of course. At the same time, there are times where you just have to say, look, I really need you to just do this and stop arguing.
Yeah.
But you know the traits very well, so you're dealing with them in the best way that you can.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
I do think it takes a certain amount of bravery and extra amount of catch-up sleep sometimes. But the thing is, you will never be bored there.
No.
You'll never be bored.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So say that again.
Oh, I'm sorry, because you mentioned with the card. You said with the card with the children. So is that?
That was just what was coming up as soon as you came through on air. I grabbed that card out.
Okay.
So I knew we would be talking about the children, and of course here you're talking about a child, but also you're the child of the person who was coming through.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. They're often cryptic with me. It just keeps them entertained, and it stops me from going into a memory loss situation, because what you don't use you lose, and your father's very much someone who thinks like that. You sort of have to use it or lose it. So keep up your routines, keep things moving. That's going to be important for you. You've got a lot of conviction, commitment, and very good sentiment you put forward into the people around you, and so that's always going to be appreciated, and it's something that was important to your dad, even though he wasn't able to be there as long as he would have liked to have been able to do that himself more, but he's always going to be around you, and every now and again he taps you on the shoulder to let you know he's there.
That's good to know.
So he'll keep doing that, and I hope that helps you today. And thank you so much for your call.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome there, Renee. And thank you to our callers. I've also got another person who's written in. I'm going to have to get back to you on the next show. And it's actually kind of good because I'll be kind of, I think, needing a show to talk about this. It's not just a reading, but it's also wanting to cover something. The question they're wanting to look at is, how do I know if someone is jealous of me? It's actually a pretty big topic, believe it or not, for psychics on a range of levels, because we pick up different energy and emotions from people, and sometimes it can be a bit confusing because we don't sort of walk around going, oh, they're jealous of me. Oh, no. No. But sometimes people do put out projective energies towards us, and it's like, oh, what's that? How do I deal with it? So I'll deal with that next week for you there, Patricia from Melbourne, Australia, who's written in as well, because we've got so little time on the show left, I can't do it. So it's probably a show on its own. So I'll catch you next week. In the meantime, thank you everyone for calling in. Thank you for writing in. Feel welcome to write in if you'd like me to cover a topic on air or read for you. More than happy to do that. I'll be back same bat time and same bat channel next week. And it's going to be kind of fun and exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, I'm going to wish you lots of love, light, blessings, and I'll be sending healing after the show to everyone tuning in. And in the meantime, may your life be happy, merry, and many other things. Yes, I think I'll sing Kumbaya. All right. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Someone singing, my Lord.